back for 5 Nights with Harry. Last time we left off, Michelle got a job as the new security guard for the night shift, and she let her father know, and he did not take it well. In fact, I believe we ended the chapter with him barging in with them playing a game. So there was also, I believe, there was also tormenting Umbridge as well, just to make her a little unhinged, which was good. So let's get on with chapter 24. If you want to follow along, link to the description will be in the link to it will be in the description below as always. So let's get started. The awkward silence stretched on as Mike stared at his daughter on the opposite side of the table. Finally, Faith reached up and flicked his ear, which caused him to jump. The fuck, Faith? Snorting, the Spectre waved a hand around. You're being too silent, Mikey. It's unnatural, especially for you. All Mike did was scowl before he turned back to his daughter, who was giving Faith an odd look. The Spectre rolled her eyes at the young woman. I would say take a picture, but cameras never seem to catch my good side, and always shave a few 100 pounds. Nonplussed, Michelle shook her head. Right. Ignoring Casper here? Her eyes wide, Faith gasped. Ooh, Casper! Like I have never heard that one before. She then turned toward Mike. That is so amazingly original, isn't it, Mikey? All Mike did was sigh and pinched his nose. Right. Anyways, according to you, fuck boys and the Fez fuck gang were being controlled by some Nazi cult bullshit bitch ass robots, henceforth referred to as Billy. Billy had used a serial killer who worked here to kill a bunch of kids and stuff their bodies into fuck boys and the others, and thus caused them to become possessed. And then it forced them, against their will, to kill guards over and over again. That is, right up until this summer, when this guy named Harry used some magic potion bullshit to boost his strength and besiege you, along with Golden Fuckboy, who turned out to be his dead aunt, to tear apart Billy. That freed not only the animatronics, but also all the spirits of the dead guards who now follow him around like Faith does me. There was also a bunch of other animatronics also following around. Is that pretty much it? At his daughter's nod, he sighed. I got one question. Before he could say anything, Faith spoke up. Is this AF Spectre hot? That got her looks from both Mike and Michelle, which caused her to stare back. What? Shaking his head, Mike turned back to his daughter. Is there any way that I could meet this guy so I can at least shake his hand? I'm assuming that he still remembers things if he has a ghost with him. That caused Michelle to stare at him. Wait, you know about the manager and them trying to wipe people's memories? How? A snot escaped Mike as he rolled his eyes. His bitch of a sister tried it with me one time and probably thought that I forgot. Thing is, she didn't know about Faith here, and she managed to prevent me from forgetting things. Looking at the Spectre, Michelle frowned for a moment before she smiled. Well, you'll be happy to know that the manager and his sister won't be doing that anymore. Kind of hard with one buried 6 feet under and the other practically brain dead. His eyes wide, Mike frowned a bit. Wait, seriously? At her nod, he chuckled. I'll have to throw a party then. Wait, if they're dead, then who owns the place? Foxy grunted a bit. That'd actually be Harry. We all be friends now. He wants to take care of Rosie being as she's his aunt. Leaning back, Mike frowned a bit. Great. Now I want to meet him in order to shake his hand, congratulating him on destroying one of you fuckers and getting away with it, and then punching him for buying the place. For her part, Michelle rolled her eyes, though she made a mental note to punch her father if he hurt Harry. He's at school now, actually, but I can still contact him if you want. Raising an eyebrow, Mike grunted some. How and when? Unless you want to give me his phone number. Despite her best efforts, Mike still caught the wince his daughter gave. What are you not telling me? As she rubbed her face, Michelle sighed. Considering you know that Tony's sister wiped people's memories, I'm guessing that you know about magic. There was an unamused expression on Mike's face. Yes, generally speaking, those magic users are assholes. I remember nearly killing this bastard in a silver mask by smashing him in the face with the folding of the chair. Then other guy showed up and shot red lights at me in him before trying to wipe my memories and leaving. Then it was that damn werewolf movie reject that attacked you when you were 6. Michelle blinked at that and even looked up. Wait, I was attacked when I was 6 by a werewolf? With a slight sneer, Faith shook her head. It was our last visit here on vacation. You were by some woods, and it charged out at you, nearly got you if I had not stepped in. Let's just say that I won't ever hurt someone again. Then this guy showed up and complained about muggles and wiped your memories and tried to wipe Mikey's. While she grimaced, Michelle nodded. Sounds about right. She then cleared her throat at the looks. Hadn't encountered myself this summer, and they were going to wipe my memories as well as Lisa is. But Harry stepped in and pulled a stunt that could have seen him in jail by stopping it. Closing his eyes, Mike rubbed the sides of his head. You mentioned he used potions, so I know he's a magic user. Now, how the fuck did he stop them from wiping your memories? What do you mean by jail? Uncomfortable, Michelle shifted a little bit in her seat. He threw this invisibility cloak over the two of us after he got us out of sight, having realized what would happen, and then distracted the guy who was modifying people's memories. Erica was safe because her cousin is a witch, so she's under some sort of list of people allowed to know. Neither me nor Lisa would be protected, but he distracted him enough that he didn't notice us. As for prison, she took a deep breath. According to Erica, if he got caught, the best case would be him being kicked out of school, thrown in prison, and likely not being allowed to cast magic. Said prison is apparently right out the worst parts of the medieval period, along with some kind of monster called a mentor, which apparently eats people's happiness and makes them relive their worst memories over and over. He also eats souls. Silence descended onto the group before Faith broke it. Well, that's rather bad to say the least. And fucked up as well. Leaning back, Mike raised an eyebrow. If that's the best case, what's the worst? Really shifting around, Michelle let out a sigh. Worst case would be him going through all that and his memories wiped, with a good possibility being of him dying. Seeing the look, she shook her head. Erica told me this. And you know Erica, Dad. After a moment, Mike nodded. Yeah, Erica wouldn't lie about that sort of shit. Then he waved a hand around. Now I really want to meet the guy and talk with him. For some odd reason, Michelle didn't like the knowing look that her dad gave her. Yeah, actually, we can talk with him tomorrow, I guess. Reaching into her shirt pocket, Michelle pulled out a handheld mirror. These can connect to other mirrors, and we can talk with each other face to face. He just needs to be secretive about it, even though I don't need to worry about anyone trying to wipe my memories anymore. Now that caused Mike to raise an eyebrow. Wait, why wouldn't you worry about that? A moment later, he blinked as Michelle pulled out a necklace with some kind of amulet at the end. What the hell is that? There was a soft look on Michelle's face as she looked at it. Something that Harry's mom worked on. It protects me from having my memories modified and lets me go to places that normally I wouldn't be normally able to. Faith leaned forward with a ghastly grin on her face. Well now, a guy who's willing to risk his freezing and could have suffered greatly, as well as having his life in danger for you, who also gives you expensive-looking jewelry with magic to protect you? Nice catch. I approve. Sputtering, Michelle went red in the face, and so didn't notice Mike's eyebrow twitch as a vein throbbed in his head. It's not like that. We're just friends. Why does everyone keep saying that with more? I have no clue. With her eyes glinting, Faith chuckled. Oh, so everyone thinks it as well, huh? Throwing her hands into the air, Michelle screamed, We're just friends! As she nodded, Faith nudged a slowly reddening Mike. And I'm only a little dead. Am I right, Mike? Eh? Eh? Groaning, Michelle put her head onto the table and banged her head on it. Harry was eating his breakfast when he felt a tap on his shoulder and looked up to see a slightly worried Hermione. Something the matter? Looking around, she leaned in closer to him. Look at Umbridge. With a raised eyebrow, Harry did so and blinked at the sight of the woman. Her hair was all over the place, and her bloodshot eyes kept searching the great hall as she tried to eat. It didn't help matters that her skin was going rather pale either. Okay, so she's looking under the weather, and as she shook her head, Hermione glanced at her books. She's looking more than under the weather, Harry. She looks utterly sleep-deprived. Having been listening to their conversation, George glanced around and leaned in. Worse than that, I'm afraid. She's been freaking out in class as well. The other day, Fred was close to the hospital wing when he overheard her arguing with Pumphrey. Apparently, she's been slugging back Junior's sleep potions daily. Pumphrey was trying to limit what she could get to. Not that it helped any, as she used the minister's authority to override her. While he snorted, Ron shook his head. I heard that she showed up hungover to one class, Even Malfoy and the others have started to be worried around her. Frowning, Harry shrugged. None of my business. That got him some odd looks as Hermione continued to chat with Ron. Did you see the others that came in the other day? Ron only nodded his head as inside Harry's mind as he could hear air. We're coming here. It was so long since I last had a proper breakfast. Paying a half ear to the conversation around him, Harry chanced another look towards Umbridge to see her stabbing the plate hard enough to dent it. You're not going to get caught by those oars. Have you? He could hear a laugh from his companion. Sorry, but that was pretty hilarious. No, they've just been trying to find someone alive in the room. When they tried it with trying to sense dark magic, well, she's lucky that they were allies of hers, as it turned out she had a couple of dark magic items. Another groan came from her as Harry bit into some eggs. Oh, that's the bloody good stuff right there. Rolling his eyes as he fought down a blush, Harry softly snorted. I'm still worried, though. It only takes one to find you. Aya just snorted right back at him. Hardly, especially since the last time they arrived and found nothing in her rooms. They told her to bugger off and stop calling them, which means that we can start going after her elsewhere. I'm thinking when she's in the halls now during the day. It was then that Harry could feel some concern. Just keep flying under the radar as you have been, Harry. If we're going to ramp it up, then she's going to start lashing out soon enough, and you're a prime target. With a slight nod, Harry swallowed. No worries about that, though I'm not looking forward to Snape's Occlusy lessons tonight. I don't even know what we're supposed to do, but me and him being in the same room without anyone else. Not even a moment later, he could feel the concern wash over him before Aya spoke up. Well, the Black Mask can take care of Umbridge tonight. I'll be going with you to this Occlusy class, and if he hurts you, then he is going to pay. Having cast the the mind reading spell, Snape looked around as he found himself in a room. It took him only a moment to recognize that it was the same office that he'd seen in Tonkson's memories that Harry had been in. The next thing he recognized was the tablet, and looking at it, he raised an eyebrow mentally. Currently, the camera was focused on a massive curtains with the sign saying out of order. From a space inside the curtains, you could see a single red eye with a slit pink pupil looking out. A mindscape, as well as a way to watch the connection. Interesting. Perhaps Potter is not so useless after all. The next thing he knew, a hand grabbed him by the shoulder and squeezed hard enough that he could swear that he felt claws digging into his flesh. Oh, trust me, Harry is far from useless. Snape was then forcefully spun around and slammed into the desk. And I'm rather pissed at how you act towards him. With his eyes widened, Snape stared at the being before him. It looked like a woman composed of pure shadows, shadow with tendrils that streamed from her, except for the mouth and the eyes. Her mouth was like that of a skull, and an avaricious grin, while her eyes were bloodshot and wise, as if they were about to fall out. What in the name of... Ugh. Before he could react, the woman moved, and he found himself lifted off the ground as she began to choke him with one hand. I've been meaning to have a little chat with you. Her nails dug into Snape's neck as he struggled. I'm just going to give you a friendly warning, just in case you get the idiotic idea of trying to invade Harry's mind again. Permission or not. The ghostly being squeezed even harder. His mind is under my protection. I will keep that snake bastard out of his head as well as possible. You are not needed. She seemed to grow as her eyes glared into his. Now leave. In the real world, Snape stumbled back, as did Harry. If one was to look at the young wizard, they would notice that for a moment his eyes had switched to their possessed state. As he got up, though, Snape's face reddened. Potter? Blinking, Harry shook it off. Yes, Professor? Angered, Snape growled as he got up. What in the name of Merlin was that? At Harry's confused look, he swore. No matter. I will find out one way or the other. Legitimate spell. My reading spell. God damn it, I can't say the word. Ugh. Okay, we'll keep going. Once more, he found himself in front of the strange being, except now it had its arms crossed over its chest and seemed more bemused than anything. Why, aren't we the stubborn one? Taking a step forward, Snape growled. I do not know what you are, but... However, he was cut off as the being once more firmed against the wall. I warned you before. This is now strike two. Pausing for a moment, she rubbed her chin and thought. Strike two. That gives me an idea. Twirling, she began to sing. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with a crowd. I don't know what song that is. Hopefully I did an okay job, but probably not. Let's go. As he scrambled to his feet, Snape only had the time to see a baseball bat materialize in the being's hand. What? Then the baseball bat impacted with his head, and he was again thrown out of Harry's head. Dumbledore only looked up as he heard the door to his office open. Albus, I refuse to teach that brat anything more. Sighing, he looked up from his paperwork. Severus, I know that you and Mr. Potter do not... He trailed off as he saw the state his professor was in. Mainly the slightly bleeding marks around his neck that looked like a handprint. Then there was a bruising along one side of his face. Severus, what happened? His potion professor walked over and slammed his hands down onto the desk. Potter has some kind of guardian in his mind. Whatever it is powerful and flung me out with ease. Reaching up, he rubbed his throat and winced at the throbbing on the side of his face. I have never seen like except for when one was possessed. But Potter is not showing any of the signs. There was a frown on Dumbledore's face as he leaned back. Like possession, you say? Could it be Tom? As he shook his face, Snape slumped into a chair. No, the Dark Lord will not use such muggle means as this did to eject me from his mind. At the curious look, he explained, when I entered Potter's mind, it took the form of that place he worked at, where that fox was in that place. Instead, I could see the Dark Lord's eye behind the curtain, with a camera on it, but then the being revealed itself and attacked. While he continued to explain, Dumbledore's frown deepened as his mind whirled in thought. Harry had just laid back into bed when his mirror began to buzz. For a moment, he blinked before he grabbed it and tapped the mirror as he was told to. Michelle's face slowly filled the mirror. Hey, Michelle. It was then that he saw the resigned expression on her face. Something's the matter? All she did was shake her head with a sigh. I've got someone here who wants to talk with you. Before Harry could ask, the face of an older man filled the mirror, and there was an angered expression. You this guy Harry? At Harry's confused nod, the man grunted. His name is Mike Smith. I'm Michelle's father. Now that made Harry sit up a bit. Hello, sir. then furrowed his eyebrows a bit. If you don't mind me asking, I thought you were back in the States. Suddenly, Mike was shoved out of the way by Michelle. That's my fault, Harry. Your old daddy here kept harping on me to get out there and get a job for experience. I got annoyed and came to Freddy's and got hired for the guard position and sent him a letter with a picture of me here in it. Pinching his nose, Harry slowly nodded. And so he freaked out and came all the way to England to save you from the animatronics. I take it that you told him everything then? However, she shook her head. About Freddy's? Yeah. But it turns out that he knew about magic before now. She seemed to know how Mike was trying to get back to the mirror as his daughter kept him away. Harry stared at her. Wait. He knew about magic and wizards already? I thought that he was non-magical. There were no magicals in your family. Out of view, Mike scoffed. I knew because I've had encounters with those fuckhead wizards and witches before, always trying to wipe my memories of stuff every time I see them. Like that time that werewolf thing attacked Michelle, Faith killed it. They never succeeded though. Confused, Harry glanced at Michelle. Faith? Who's Faith? Wait. Did you say something about him talking to a ghost or something by that name that you never saw? A specter similar to Aya popped into view and waved at him. Yo, I'm Faith, the specter who has the unfortunate duty of looking after this idiot over there. She ignored the shout from Mike as she gestured with her thumb in his direction. I've been looking after Michelle since she was a little girl, so thanks for looking out for her from me. Humming, Faith looked around Harry. So, I heard that you got a specter of your own. Hey! Mike chose exactly then to interrupt as he grabbed the mirror and glared at where Faith was. You can flirt later. Turning back to the highly confused Harry, Mike snorted. So I heard that you took the night guard job, managed to tame these guys, and then wrecked Billy's shit. If anything, that only increased Harry's confusion. Billy? Who's Billy? With a laugh, Mike shook his head. That marionette thing? It showed up at my window one day and got pissed off when I called it Billy and told it the story of that bitch-ass robot Billy. Slowly becoming amused, Harry snorted. Oh man, I wish that I could have seen its face. Then, much to Harry's surprise, Mike nodded at him. I like you, kid. You managed to survive fuckboys and then protected my daughter from those fuckhead wizards who wanted to mess with her head. He then grimaced a bit. I may not like the idea that you're going to continue it, not to mention your relationship with my daughter, but whatever. Suddenly, Mike's expression darkened some as Michelle could be heard groaning. But if you hurt Michelle, I will put you through agony that you cannot possibly imagine. Before the now highly confused Harry could say anything, Aya popped up beside him and leaned toward the mirror. Who's this now? Just as Harry was about to say something, Faith popped into view on the other side of the mirror and gave Aya a once-over. Well, hello there, sexy. I see that you're on this plane because you're too perfect for heaven and too hot for hell. Face humming, Mike shook his head. Oh God, not this. Aya slowly blinked as she stared at the specter who winked at her. What? Once the conversation had ended and the mirror turned back to normal, there was silence for a few moments before Harry broke it. That was interesting. Confusing at times, but interesting. Though why he was threatening me or Michelle, I don't know. The sound of snickers made him turn to Aya, who waved him off. It's nothing, Harry. Nothing at all. Laying back against him, Aya's snickers became chuckles. You know, though, I will admit that I can't help but wonder if there's some way to get Faith here to Hogwarts. Staring at her, Harry worked his jaw for a moment before he could say anything. Why in the bloody hell would you want to do that? With a twinkle in her bloodshot eyes, Aya turned towards him and raised a finger. Think about it for a moment. Hogwarts has a number of female ghosts here. As Harry's eyes widened at the realization of what she's getting at, Aya chortled. Imagine Myrtle's reaction to being hit on. Or, even better, it might be enough to get the Grey Lady to actually say something. His hand covering his eyes, Harry snorted a bit. That would be both a disaster and an utterly hilarious event at the same time. Though I wonder if Myrtle will do anything about it or not. Remember the times when she had tossed said ghost out of the bathroom when Myrtle had snuck in to spy on Harry in the shower? Ada's tone turned as dry as it could. She just might actually. As his arm held her in a friendly hug, Harry nodded. Maybe. Erica stared blankly at the sight before her for almost a minute before she reached up and pinched the bridge of her nose as if in pain. I told you to go out and get a van that we could use to get tools and spare parts around. Why the fucking hell would you get a retired ambulance instead? With a shrug, Davis shook his head. It was pretty decently priced compared to the other stuff, especially with its size. We'll be able to lug around more tools and spare parts. Heck, with some work, we can set it up so we can work on an animatronic inside for field repairs. Then he jerked his thumb at Richard, who grinned. Better than what this bloody moron was going to have us buy. As he gestured with his hand, Richard snorted. What? Considering who we're working for, it would be pretty damn cool. Feeling a headache coming on, Erica let out a sigh. Should I even ask? There was a sigh that escaped from Davis before he answered. Richard wanted us to go and buy her a hearse. For a brief moment, there was silence before Erica turned to one of the other unamused girls. Lauren, if you could, said one who punched Richard in the arm, and Erica nodded. Thank you. Ignoring how Richard whined about it, Erica looked at the vehicle they brought. Nothing for it, I guess. Though I am going to ask Remus and Sirius if they can't run some kind of magical purification bullshit over it, or whatever the hell they use to make sure something isn't haunted. While she shoved her hands into her jacket to keep them warm in the damp, chill autumn air, Steph popped a gum bubble. Anyways, got some good news that you might like. Relieved, Erica nodded and she tried to massage the side of their head. Good news might be nice. Having guessed the stress that her friend was under, Steph nodded. We brought that new auto garage that we were looking at outside the Little Wayne. Bit of a hard sell with the bank, but all we're waiting for now is the paperwork to go through, which shouldn't take more than a day or two. That caused Erica to sigh of pure relief. That's one big thing out the way then. Lisa's taking care of all the business paperwork, thankfully. A shudder ran through her. She's way too excited over that. It was then that Lauren chuckled a bit. You'll just love what I have to say. I was talking with some people, and it turned out that there's a small haunted house set up here in Surrey in a mall that uses old Fazbear animatronics. Nothing big or complicated for you, us. Heck, they don't have free roam, but they've been having issues with getting them serviced, and are willing to give us a try. It's not much, but it'll get us out there. They also reuse them for Christmas hauls as well, with some others. If we do good, we'll have a small contract for maybe a dozen? David's eyebrows raised a bit in surprise. That's actually rather nice. However, Erica frowned a bit. Any issues with them now? Stirring, Lauren just shook her head. Besides age getting to the endoskeletons constantly lock up? Nah. This product line is the 74 ones that they brought off Fazbears after they brought out Fredbears. Just holiday-themed animatronics designed to be put away once the holidays were done. None of them were advanced, but it was mainly a gimmick to draw attention after Fredbear's closed. Unknown to them, Erica was unsure in her head. I'll have to bring along Olive, maybe Veronica maybe have Veronica nearby just to be certain. But if they don't have free roam, then likely they're normal. Still, wouldn't hurt to make sure. Clearing her throat, Erica raised an eyebrow. Any of note? Chuckling, Lauren shook her head. Just a 40-foot tall singing Christmas tree named Piney. They were worried that they would need to scrap him as they've been having some issues. But, like I said, if we manage it, we'll get a contract for maintenance. There were some stares from everyone there before Richard leaned away. Okay, right, sure then. Lauren only gave him a look. Apparently he's a big draw during the holidays, okay? Kids love the guy. All Erica did was shake her head. Still, every little bit helps us, I suppose. Wiping her brow, Lisa smiled a bit after having put down the box. There's the last one we need today. As she leaned back to stretch, Lisa smiled at Remus, who put a box down nearby. Thanks for helping, Remus. I really appreciate it. A chuckle escaped from the werewolf as he shook his head. I'm glad to help you however I can. There was a grin on Lisa's face as she snorted. Trust me, you've been a huge help. I would have needed to run out of storage space and go back and forth between there and here for boxes and papers. Instead, you guys only enlarged the inside of a wardrobe and made it into an office of sorts. I mean, just look at it. Ruth glanced around, and besides the boxes, there was a desk in one corner, a nice chair, and what looked like a battery-operated mug lamp. Well, wasn't that hard? A frown then crossed his face as he looked at the dozen large boxes or so that they gathered. What are in these, anyways? I thought that the majority of paperwork was staying at Freddy's until it closes this December. Having shaken her head, Lisa walked over. There's some paperwork, actually. Mostly invoices and the like, which I will be getting looked over just in case by accountants. Harry does want everything on the up and up for when he reopens, after all. Then you've got merchandise that was just put away, which we might be able to reuse. As he clapped his hands to shake off the dust, Remus hummed a bit. You mean like those stuffed toys that Harry has? Lisa really shook her head. More than that, actually. There was actually a crate of the things, believe it or not, from the second location. Then you had the current toys, but there was other stuff as well. Walking over to a box, Lisa used a knife to cut the tape and open it. You also had things like these coloring books. Taking the offered book, Remus raised an eyebrow at the cover. Captain Foxy's Undersea Adventure? The warrior quickly flipped through it and snorted at the pictures of Foxy underwater due to a magic amulet and meeting mermaids and the like. Okay, this is kind of cute, I guess. With a grin, Lisa shook her head. And that's only one. There's at least one culinary book for each of the rest of the Fazbear gang. Then you have the more deteriorated ones that were obviously for the toys as well. But here's the thing. These were limited prints, apparently, to look at the concept. Tony never went for it because it would cost too much to print an initial run of them. Same with the beginner books for younger children to use to learn how to read. We're trying to track down the original designers and such, but it's going to be hard as the business in question seems to have went under in the 80s. Now thoughtful, Remus leaned against the wall of the office. So, basically, we have coloring books and normal books that never saw a print besides a highly limited run and no publishers for them. That's not a big help. However, he didn't expect for Lisa to laugh. Are you kidding, Remus? This is the best thing that we could hope for. It's been over a decade, and Fazbear Entertainment owns the rights. Without those publishers fighting us, we can get a new one and have them do several runs of the books for us. Harry wants a media blitz in a few months to get people excited over it. He'll be getting that and in spades. Heck, we even got plates for comics. Confused, River scratched his head. Comics? Plates? Rolling her eyes, Lisa walked over to a crate, which was one that Remus had levitated in as it was so heavy, and opened it. After a few moments, she brought out a large flat piece of metal with images on it. This is a comic printing plate. Fazbear and earlier Fredbear used them to print comics with it to sell at their pizzeria for the older children. But, like a number of others, the comic maker went under, and the plates were returned to Fazbear Entertainment. We still hold the rights. Humming, Remus nodded a bit. I see. So you're going to negotiate with someone to print these? Much to his surprise, Lisa shook her head. Already have. I dated this guy, but we broke up with no hard feelings. Him and his brother have been trying to get their own comic company up and running, but it's kind of hard for him as he's got competition. He's got maybe one independent using him, but that's not enough. However, I told him about this, and he nearly leapt over the moon. He can reprint both the original Fredbear comics as well as the Fazbear. According to him, he could use the interest for the pizzeria due to it closing and all the use to get people to buy them. With a frown, Remus looked at her. Kids will buy these? There was a grin on Lisa's face. Some will, but two of us are betting on nostalgia from various people. The companies have been around for a long time, and many of those with fond memories are now adults themselves. Tony was an idiot who cared only for squeezing what money he could. He didn't really care much about the image, besides making sure that no one knew about the dangers of the animatronics. But we do. We're going to explain away all the bad memories and then remind people of all the good ones. The bad stuff will get buried in a few months by the news cycle, as it's mostly minor, especially as Jerry Fitzgerald will resent some of the old agreement and let Foxy become part of the show. Then we hit them with reprinted comics, books, coloring books, give out toys at various meet and greets, that sort of thing. Despite it being explained, Remus was still unsure. Nonetheless, though, he shrugged in agreement since it wasn't really his project. If you say so. All Lisa did was chuckle. Just wait and see, Remus. Just wait and see. And that's the end of chapter 24. That wasn't so bad. It wasn't so long, but it wasn't really short. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. Leave a review. You can do that. You don't have to have an account. It just means he can't respond. And who knows? Maybe it'll encourage him to bring a new chapter. It has been so long since we've had an update for a new chapter for this. So who knows? Maybe you'll be the person who'll let him come back. Get him to come back. Who knows? So go leave a review. And if you do, tell me what you think. And be sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every Friday.